why doesn't Israeli Hebrew sound Semitic at all?
אנחנו לא נוכל לחיות בארץ הזאת עם איסלאם או נאצי אחד שכזה נשאר בעזה.
Do you think because it wasn't created by someone who was Semitic? Yes, I said created. Let's get into it. So modern Hebrew, or Israeli Hebrew, has only been around for around 150 years or so. Before that, ancient Hebrew, or biblical Hebrew, was a non-spoken language for around 2,000 years. It was mostly used liturgically, so for prayer and for sacred texts, and sometimes in poetry or literature, but it was not spoken at all. In fact, the Talmud was not even written in Hebrew. It was written in Aramaic. So when was Hebrew revived to what we hear today? So the revival of Hebrew as a spoken language is largely attributed to a Russian dude named Eliezer Yitzhak Perlman. He was an Ashkenazi Jewish linguist who later changed his name to Eliezer ben Yehuda, of course, and he was obsessed with this idea of reviving Hebrew as a spoken language. Now, his native language was Yiddish, as was the language of most Central and Eastern European Jewish folks at the time. And so what he did is he took the Sephardic Jewish pronunciation, and of course he overlaid that with the European pronunciations, heavily influenced by Yiddish, Russian, Polish, and German. And so because of that, for instance, Israeli Hebrew doesn't roll their R's like Semitic languages do. So they don't say ra, they say ra. For instance, like Israel, right? And so that's why they sound more German, for instance, when they say hummus instead of hummus. Another example is they don't have the Semitic sound ah. Instead, they have to say ah, because they don't know how to say ah. So instead of saying aliyah, they say aliyah. And so that's why the accent sounds so flat as opposed to Arabic-based dialects or ancient Hebrew. And by the way, this whole idea of Hebrew becoming a spoken language was actually frowned upon by the Orthodox and devout Jewish community, because to them, Hebrew was meant to be for prayer and sacred ceremonies. It wasn't meant to be used in everyday mundane contexts. But in the end, of course, because of the Zionist movement, this whole idea of having a specific language for this Jewish-only state was very, very enticing. And so in 1922, Britain declared modern Israeli Hebrew one of the three languages of the land, including Arabic and including English. And to end this, there's no real way of knowing what ancient Hebrew really sounded like, but there are some beautiful indications of what it might have sounded like when we hear Yemenite Hebrew.